Well, hello again. This is Audra here with day 3 of your video training series. I hope you've been enjoying the bits and pieces that really play into changing and shape-shifting your body. If you've struggled with weight loss, you go up and down, or let's say you just kind of went up and stayed there and nothing seems to be working. This is a very different approach. It's a very holistic approach. And so far what we've covered is very concrete scientific mind-body nutritional strategies. So far we've talked about stress, the stress response, stress chemistry versus relaxation response. And then in the second video, I taught you a very important key factor that can immediately get you into relaxation response, help you digest, assimilate, calorie burn, metabolize better, which is the trick called eating slow. I know it seems so simple, but it is profound because you get to practice it multiple times a day. Now today what we're going to dig into is another really great topic, and the question that I have for you today is, are you on the sumo diet? And by the time we're finished with this video, you're going to understand bio-circadian rhythm in a big way. Okay, so sumo wrestling has been around for centuries, and before processed food, before junk food and things like that, it's important to understand that these sumo wrestlers have been doing this for a long time, eating real food, eating real whole normal food. So even if you think you're, little miss, Whole Foods, I got this down, I know what's healthy and what's unhealthy, well, these guys can show you that even if you've got the food thing down, you can still put on a massive amount of weight, or you can go in the other direction as well, and that's what I want to talk about. Now, what's cool about sumo wrestlers is that they use this concept of bio-circadian rhythm, which we're going to get into in a second. They use it to their benefit. Okay, so if you look at a sumo wrestler, they eat a very normal breakfast. They wake up in the morning, they have a normal breakfast. Then when it's time for lunch, they have a very normal sized lunch. There's nothing special about that, okay? Then what they do at dinner time, usually a little later than dinner time, is they eat a huge meal. Huge. Okay, and remember, I'm not talking processed junk food. A big problem we have in our culture that just, it's almost like crack cocaine, this processed food. I'm talking about real food in Japan, like, rice, fish, tofu, all of these things that we eat, that maybe we should eat. And then after dinner, they go to sleep, and then they wake up in the middle of the night, and then they have another ginormous meal, okay? This is so important to understand because what they're doing is they're using the concept of bio-circadian rhythm to work, well, they're kind of working against it on purpose for their own benefit of gaining weight. And I bring this up because you can use it in the other direction. Now, what the heck is bio-circadian rhythm? Now, it's a cyclical 24-hour period of human biological activity. There's a lot of definitions, but I thought that that would be an easier one for you to grasp. The physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follow roughly a 24-hour cycle. Now, the thing is that explains how it works in humans, but the truth is that the entire Earth, we all have bio-circadian rhythm. It's in the entire world. Think about it. The sun doesn't actually come up and the sun doesn't actually go down, but the Earth moves around the sun in a 24-hour period. We have light and then we have dark. There's rhythm to the way that the world works. There's rhythm to the way that our body works. We have cycles. We have monthly cycles. We have, daily cycles. And all of these are totally integrated into the Earth. So I think that if we can get that concept, you can understand how you can actually work with your bio-circadian rhythm in order to get the response you're looking for. Now, there's another research out there called bio-circadian nutrition, and it's a study of how the time of day, the natural cycles of your body influence the nutritive process, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And again, if these sumo wrestlers can figure out how to do it to their benefit, you can also figure out how to use it for your benefit. Now, I love this picture here, and it is the Circadian Cycle, and look at how awesome this picture is. It shows you all the 4 different times of the day. Right? It's giving you, dusk, it's giving you evening. What I wish was also in here is it gives like a yearly cycle where it shows the differences between summer and winter and fall and spring and all of these things. But if you look at this 24-hour period, the cyclical 24-hour period, you can see the different times, like you're in the deepest sleep, or, plus or minus around 2 o'clock. Your lowest body temperature is around 4:30 in the morning. Highest blood pressure right around 7 o'clock in the morning. You can see, this is also really important, you can see around 10 o'clock at night, I think that's 10 o'clock at night, I think that's 9 o'clock at night, melatonin secretion starts. This is what will start to get you into this lull, to get you to sleep. And somewhere around the 7:30 in the morning, melatonin secretion stops. Why is that? Because around 9 o'clock, well, the sun goes down at some point in the evening, and then at 7:30-ish or so, the sun comes up. Your body produces hormones and shuts off hormone production based on the circadian rhythm, okay? So now, we all have different circadian rhythms. I understand this, but ultimately, we're not that different. You know, we might be off by a little bit, but the truth is that we are human beings on planet Earth. We are here on this Earth, and which means we're connected to it. And that's hard to remember sometimes when we live, you know, in a big city, when we live where, you know, the sun goes down and we can keep the lights on and the electricity on and the TV on and everything else on late at night. But ultimately, our bodies are designed to go with the flow of the Earth. So there are certain things that we do have in common, and I think this is a really, really good thing to check out. Our calorie burning capacity, our temperature, our metabolic rate, and our metabolic capacity, all of it is affected by circadian rhythm. So calorie burning, metabolic rate, temperature, all of these things, they begin to rise as you wake up. And it's at its absolute highest, meaning your metabolic capacity is at its highest at around like the noon, 1:30, you know, time frame. And doesn't that make sense? Isn't that when the sun is at its highest? So wouldn't that make sense, speaking, you know, in this world of bio-circadian rhythm, wouldn't that make sense that that is when your metabolism would be revved up and when you would be at your highest? It drops from around 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the evening. There's a slight rise in metabolism of body temperature around like the 5 to 8 o'clock mark. And it's at its absolute lowest between 1 and 5 a.m. Another really important point that I think that needs to be brought up here is that hormonal rebalancing, production, healing in your body, it's at its highest from about 10 o'clock in the evening until 2 o'clock in the morning. So if you are up late at night with the boob tube on or stuck in front of your computer or in blue screen with all these lights on and you're not getting the rest and restoration in your bed asleep with all the lights off, you know, you're literally missing your ability to rebalance your hormones, to produce hormones, to heal your body, okay? Isn't this interesting? Isn't this interesting? So how does this affect you and what are you going to do about it? So first question is this news to you? Is this like some profound realization like, wow, if I could somehow get my life and my system working along with bio-circadian rhythm instead of against it, how will that affect your metabolism? How will that affect your ability to calorie burn and shapeshift your body? Now, how do you use this information? For weight loss, for increased energy. That's actually what I want you to share down below on the blog. If you're watching this video someplace else besides the blog, I have the URL right here. You can see, or you can go onto my website, audrabaker.com, and you can register and sign up for this 7-day video training series. But what is a small thing that you can do today to start to shapeshift? So, you know, some examples that I can use in my life is it turns out that I end up eating my biggest meal in the middle of the day. I end up getting kind of ravishingly kind of hungry around like the 1 o'clock hour or so. And it tends to be like big, huge meals. And then in the evening, it tends to be a little smaller. And this even works for me when I go out, you know, with friends or if I go out to eat, because it's not like I'm going to some crazy chain TGI Friday ginormous restaurant where they feed me like 8,000 calories in one huge Alfredo pasta thing at 8 o'clock at night. You know, I go to restaurants and I choose places that have tapas, that have small plates, and then I'm enjoying the company of my friends and enjoying, you know, the experience of going out to eat, but still keeping it small in the evening, and actually it becomes more delectable. And actually I sleep better because my tummy is not rolling from one side to the other because I overdid it, right? You know, what does it feel like to stoke your metabolic fire in the morning when your metabolism starts to rise? Maybe not overdoing it, but what does it mean to kind of like stoke that metabolic fire with a little bit of food in the morning as well? These are just a couple of examples, right? What would it be like possibly to get to bed at an hour that not only feels reasonable in terms of the sun going down, in terms of bio-circadian rhythm, so that way you actually have the opportunity to get the most benefit of healing response in your body, balancing hormones and hormone reproduction in order to get the metabolic response you are looking for. So that's a lot of information, I know, but what I want to know is what is something small that you can do today to start to shift your life in the right directions to working with bio-circadian rhythm as opposed to being on the sumo diet, okay? That's what I want to share. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's video. We've got some more juicy stuff coming your way. Thanks.